guys, it's Miss Landry. So today you're going to learn about the organelle that does cellular respiration. It's the site of cellular respiration as well as the first step in cellular respiration. So let's start with the organelle. So the organelle is the mitochondria. So the mitochondria, similar to the chloroplast, is a double membraned molecule. So if we draw two membranes, if you remember, one is from being engulfed in the endosymbiont theory. Hope I spelled that right. The second one is their original membrane, so similar to the chloroplast in that way. Rather than having grana, they have a cell membrane that's continuous on the inside. So this is a phospholipid bilayer. The cell portion of it, or the membrane portion of it, is called the cristae. C-R-I-S-T-A-E, the cristae, and that's where some of the process is going to happen. And then the space in between, where there is space, is called the matrix. Not like the movie, but it's just the matrix in between the cristae. So there are three basic steps in cellular respiration. The first step is glycolysis, and that's the one we're going to be talking about today. The second one is called the Krebs cycle. You'll also hear it referred to as TCA, the citric acid cycle. That's going to be in the next video, and then the last video you're going to watch is about the electron transport chain, and you're going to learn about oxidative phosphorylation in that one. So let's talk about glycolysis. Now, as you know, glucose is quite a large molecule, and because of that, it can't actually quite get into the mitochondria easily. Remember that cell membranes are selectively permeable, and in this case, glucose is not one that goes in. So glucose is a 6-carbon molecule. So I'm going to draw it as a chain of 6 carbons, even though it is a ring, okay? So here we have 6 carbons. And in glycolysis, I want you to think about the word glycolysis. Glycolysis is another way you could say it. Glyco means sugar, right? We're starting to learn how to break these words down. And lysis means to cut or to break. So basically we're going to cut sugar so that it's small enough it can make it into the membrane. All right, so we take this 6-carbon molecule, and I want you to take a look at the picture down here. We have glucose right here, so there's our 6-carbon molecule. We're going to go through what's called the investment phase, okay? And we're going to use investment. We're going to invest 2 ATP in this process. So I'm using 2 ATP. So by using 2 ATP, I'm going to take that last phosphate off and come up with 2 ADP. I've got this intermediate step here. You don't need to know the name of that. I just want you to know that we start by using 2 ATP. Then we go into a generation phase in which we actually generate 4 ATP. And at the end of this phase, we actually are going to produce 2 3-carbon molecules called pyruvate. And that you do need to know. So you need to know pyruvate. All right, so if I use 2, or let's just look at this right here to start. All right, let's do some math. If I make a total of 4, but I use 2, what is my net ATP production in glycolysis? It is 2 ATP that are produced, and we call that net production. All right, so this happens outside in the cytoplasm. Let's make sure you get that. So here's the mitochondria, right? We've got our cristae and our matrix. So out here is where glycolysis occurs, out in this cytoplasm of the cell. Once I get 2 3-carbon molecules of pyruvate, those are small enough that they can make their way into the mitochondria for the next step. So let's go through our ins and outs for this process, okay? What is going in and what is coming out of glycolysis? What's going in is glucose. Overall, what I'm getting out is 2 pyruvate molecules. Also going in is 4 ATP. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. 4 ADP, and that's going to make 4 ATP. But I'm also going to use 2 ATP and get 2 ADP out of it. So my net for this one is 2 ATP, if that makes sense. So out of this entire process of glycolysis, we get 2 pyruvates, which are 2 3-carbon molecules, and we get 2 ATP molecules produced. And that's glycolysis in a nutshell. Just remember that when you're learning about this, try and think, rather than memorizing, I really want you to get in the habit of breaking down the word. So glyco means sugar, lysis means to cut. And that's it for this video. Thanks, guys.